children, generational things, positivity. Yeah, yeah, we definitely gonna get this interview shaking the way we can. My brother's back. Let's see if we, is he? Not yet. What happened? It's unfortunate, but we gonna push through it. We are going to push through it. We are going to push through it. Yes, yes. Man, there's so many questions that I just can't wait to get down till we can hear the brother on the audio and we be able to get this thing rocking. Yes, yes. Take a sip of this. Good old tea. Thanks, Lizzie, for the tea. Ah, see my brother Nate. He's not there yet. Yeah, today has let me ask the chat. Have you guys when I think we all do, but let me just pose the question. Have you been challenged today, for one? And the next question would be, um, how how did you overcome it? How did you overcome that challenge? Everybody got different things that they are facing in their lives, and I got one of my other brothers coming up shortly too, within a week or two, and my brother Raul, and we're gonna talk about some things about you facing yourself, which is super dope. But I want to know, um, have you been challenged today? Have you gone through some things? Have you seen a different side that you haven't experienced? And what did you do to solve that problem? What did you do to solve that problem? How did you get out of that situation? Or are you still experiencing whatever ills or whatever, uncharacteristic things that you may just experience from going through or experiencing that thing in real time? I want to know because I love hearing the stories of other personnel, because it brings insight. For me, it allows me to open my mind and see from another person's perspective. I'm one of those individuals feel like I don't necessarily have to go through what somebody else go through in order to understand the gist or get a notion to know that, hey, maybe I shouldn't touch the fire because the fire is hot. So I love to hear some of the things that you guys experience on a day in day out basis, because it gives me some insight in my own life about how I need to take uh, action in the near future. I watch so many things, and I came across, I watch him pretty frequently, and a guy named Christopher Williamson, and he was on an interview with a guy named Jock. Hold up, think my brother back. Pardon the interrupt. No, device is not connected. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Should I kick it out? Kick him out. Kick if you want the guest prevent from you joining. No, I'm gonna kick him out. A little bit of a bummer. We're still working it out. We still working it out. Mm. Yeah. Working it out. Working it out. Working it out. So you know what? Let's give some let's give some direction. My brother have gone through the system, and the system in general. Do anybody out there know somebody or have actually gone through the system themselves? When we talk about the system, we meaning the the government system, um, whether it was government programs, whether it was incarceration, whether it was some type of maybe foster care, going through um, child rehabilitation program, something that the state or something where you have experience where we call the system, because this way what we normally label it as such, the system. Have you gone through it? Know somebody have gone through it, and what are your experiences from experiencing that particular thing, the system? Because we say this quite often, and maybe some individuals out there don't know what we're talking about, right? Me being a personnel that went through the system, there's so many things that I've learned, that I shared, that I'm still learning to got through, and some things that I have taken with me from being incarcerated, and some things that I left behind from being incarcerated as well. And it's a plethora of things that you'll start to learn throughout your life about you when you're in total isolation, when you are by yourself. When you by yourself, you get a chance to grow. And being in this real world today, you may feel like you by yourself. So CJ, what's up, loved one? You may feel like you're by yourself. Swag City in the building. What's up, loved one? You may feel like you're by yourself, and you may not necessarily be in the system, but you just may feel alone, right? And my question to you is, how do you get through these moments? How do you figure things out when things start to be a little bit tough on you, and you feel like you have no direction? Who do you depend on? Have you built up that trust within oneself to say that I trust and I bank on me in order to get me through some of these pivotal moments? Tip, what's up, loved one? Tip is in the building. What do you do to overcome some of these challenges, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual? I feel that I know me personally, I get challenged every day. I get challenged every day. Morally, I get challenged. Some things I say that I won't stand for, that I may see even going on in the streets. What's up, Quay in the building? What's up, loved one? Some things I get challenged on quite often, and I think about, okay, what did I do yesterday? How can I problem solve it today? And there's steps that I normally take. The first step I always take, I sit back and I analyze what it is that I'm going through. I take a second. I just don't react. I don't want to be a reactionary person to everything. I want to be able to respond. Respond takes a little bit more patience, a little bit more analyzing. And I think that when you are going through things in your life, you taking a step back will benefit so much. I know being a reactionary person, it comes with some pros and some cons. Yeah, you may beat the person to the punch in the sense of whatever it is that you may get wind of. It may be a piece of information. It may be a reactionary thing where you say, you know what, hey, I got a quick response time. Something may happen on social media where you feel offended. Something may happen with your family. A conversation may be had and your feathers get a little bit ruffled. And the first thing you want to do is blurt out something that may offend someone else. How does that reflect on your own character? These are some of the questions that I ask myself. So I've gotten myself into some jams like that prior, and I learned that in order to be a more responsible individual, a more thinking individual, I literally have to stop in the moment and give myself some time to think. That has been one of the single most beneficial things that I've learned throughout my life, even through relationships, friendships, um, work environments, business ventures, uh, dealing with vendors, dealing with just people and personnel, because everybody have their own characteristics. Everybody is not the same. Other people are dealing with things that may trigger them, and we are going through some of these things. It makes me think about how do we communicate. Communication is key. I remember taking communication when I went to college for a little bit, and I didn't pass because I ended up dropping out of college. But I remember taking a course, and I remember sitting in the class and just going through different variations of tools that we could use in order to be better communicators. And I remember getting up in front of the class, and we had to just come up like improv off the top of the mind, right? And just act out scenes, etc. And I was like, man, in the class, I forgot exactly how it went, but I know the class was throwing things at us. So you had to be really kind of like on your feet and find different things in order to communicate better. They would throw out different scenarios, and it was like just being put in the hot seat, and you had to like problem solve in the moment. I think that class was pretty profound. Although, like I said, I dropped out of college, but um, I learned something from then, just experiencing that. I learned from just experience in that class alone, just however many classes I went to. I learned that life will always throw things at you, and how you respond matters. The way you talk, the way you look, your facial expressions, the tone, whether you loud, soft spoken, everything that you do signals something. Everything that you do is a signal to something. And a lot of times we're not aware of some of the triggers that other people may undergo. There are things that, trigger other people. And I know there's certain things that even some of my friends, some of my friends I have, 9 times out of 10 be like, you know what, don't necessarily get in an argument with him or her, because it's going to lead to something 9 times out of 10 bad, because of one or the other party not able to control themselves as far as how they conduct themselves when it comes to their mouths, right? I've been in that position as well where, hey, just mouthing off, and he came with some level of consequences. I've been out in spots. I went to clubs. I went into social gatherings. I went to many different places to where fights have broken out, and uh, there are times where I was being a reactionary person because somebody said something, somebody stepped on my shoe, and we in there squabbling, right? There have been times where I tried to avoid some of those things. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. What I'm saying to you is, have you ever experienced some things in your life where you were thrown off guard and you didn't have the time, you thought you didn't have the time to react, and all you did was, or you didn't have time to respond, and all you did was react. You was a reactionary person. I can raise my hand because I was one of those individuals. And still, through the rest of our lives, we're going to get challenged in so many ways. And my question to you is, how do you solve these problems? I know we said the first step is, analyzing it, not being so reactionary. How about we just take a step back and just see what's going on, and we say, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Weighing the options in a moment. What are the pros and cons? What happens if I do this? If I do that? What are the consequences? Is it necessary? Is it warranted that I actually go down this rabbit hole and have to voice my opinion amongst something that really may not benefit me in the long haul, or even the conversation itself may not benefit 5 or 10 minutes from now? It's really pointless because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Everybody's opinion isn't right, but everybody's entitled to it. And I feel that a lot of times we feel that since we have an opinion, it's 9 times out of 10 right. And I feel this is where a lot of conflict we come into. This is a lot of mental sparring that we come into with our own selves and other people. This is where physical things may arise. There's things where you may get challenged on your own morals and your belief system. A lot of times when we talk about, people say when you're on some of these forums, stay away from politics, religion, etc. And I feel that I don't think that it's a bad thing to avoid, but I also don't think it's a bad thing to indulge into the conversation, because now, since we have an open dialogue, we can have some perspectives thrown out there, which was great. I was watching Godfrey's show the other day, right? The Godfrey podcast, right? And he had a brother on there from the Nation of Islam, right? Pro-black African American man, right? And then we had an African American gay man on there as well. So they had two different points of an opinion. One was feeling that homosexuality, gay, etc., whatever you want to call it, right? One felt a strong belief that they were targeted in our society. Mac, what's up, loved one? Big salute, loved one. They were saying that, African American black gays are targeted by other African American black heterosexual males. So the conversation was really, really interesting, because I'm like, hey, do we have this conversation often? That's the question I was asking to myself. So I was super, super intrigued because the conversation was had. And what I came to grips, regardless of who was right or wrong, what I discovered about the conversation is that they were able to have the conversation. Being able to have the tough conversations is what normally we all run from. And it's not just about black, white, blue, green, heterosexual, gay, lesbian. Sometimes these, Flame, that's my loved one. Flame, tell Flame I love him unconditionally. The guard just copped his sweatsuit the other day. Big love, unconditional love. Yeah, a lot of times we go into situations where we don't want to have the tough conversations, and these tough conversations happen in our homes. These tough conversations happen in work environments. These tough conversations happen when we're dealing with business. These tough conversations happen when we're talking to our children. These tough conversations happen when we're dealing with our spouses. These tough conversations happen when we're dealing with people that we don't know, strangers on the streets. And my thing is, how often do we actually really indulge into the tough conversation? Because it's prevalent that it's there. It exists. But for some reason, we avoid it. We avoid having the real conversation, meaning that the conversation is present. The conversation is readily available for us to have the dialogue, but we avoid it. We avoid it. And my question is why? But truth be told, when we start having more of these open forum type of conversations, we're coming to some newfound knowledge that we wasn't aware of, far as even having levels of empathy and being in someone else's shoes to have an understanding of what that may feel like. A lot of times we know things the way we know them, the way we grew up, the way we see things, the way we see life, and a lot of times that don't get challenged. You know what's super profound, right? I heard this before. They said that a lot of times we don't bring and we don't challenge ourselves to new information. We only seek information that supports what we already think. Let me run that back. A lot of times we don't have the tough conversations. And let me tell you why. It's because we're not looking to be disapproved, right? We're looking for things that actually just keep supporting what we already believe. And what I learned about debating and learned about some of the great debaters of our time and our past and what people do, they said that in order to win arguments, right, in general, not just to be right, but in order to have a solid stance when you're having a debate with anybody on the planet, the best thing that you can do in order to prepare yourself for the debate, right, or having a conversation, is that you got to know what that other person, their supporting facts that they have already, as well as knowing yours. And although you think that it's the sparring match just to win the debate, but what you would do and what you would learn about being on the opposite side and know their side better than they do is that you will have another level of respect and understanding for where that person sits at in their life. Powerful, powerful, powerful. When you know the supporting facts and disapproval things about why a person stand where they stand at, when you know that, you will have a different level of understanding on where that person come from. And that's what I learned to do. I'm learning to still continue to do in my life. Although, we have people out there that just don't like you for whatever reason. And sometimes you may not be able to have that type of conversation with that particular person. But if you watch their mannerisms, you watch what they do, when they start unpacking, if somehow you be able to get in tune with their story, we'll see where things have taken some level of turns, right, lefts, up, down, etc. in their lives to let them come to that conclusion of what they're thinking about. They say that you don't know where a person have been that allowed them to make the decisions that they make of today, which is super, super key. A lot of times we don't know why people make the decisions that they make, and it's all predicated upon the experiences that they already had in the past. And due to those experiences, this is why they are making some of the decisions. But if we understand that, right, if we took time out to maybe have the conversation, some of these things will be able to come out in a way to where we just build up our level of understanding, build up our levels of awareness, have more sentiment around other people, have higher levels of empathy for other people. We can start caring more about ourselves, start understanding, you know what, maybe I thought about me being in this position right here, but what if I stand on the opposite side and looked at things from their viewpoint? Would I feel the same way? Or would I have the same, do I have the same, would I still defend my own beliefs if I was in their shoes? Or would I disapprove? Or would I disapprove? Jet, what's up, loved one? So these are some of the things I feel that you would gain so much more understanding about who you are, where you are, the thoughts that you have. I talk to my nephew all the time, nieces, nephews, cousins, etc. And one thing that I emphasize definitely to the youth all the time, I let them know that it's okay to be you, because that is your gift. You being who you are is your gift. And a lot of times we get get removed away from it, because there are people, places, and things that tell you that you're not good enough. Nah, you didn't accomplish enough. You didn't accomplish enough. The way you see the world is different than what we all thinking about. But I heard something from Mos Def, right? And this is super profound. And when I'm sharing these sentiments, because I'm gonna let you know first and foremost where I get them from, and I also want to let you know that some of these ideas I hold to be near and dear true to me, because I've experienced them in some form of fashion, and I repeat them because I still want it to be challenged. through whoever I come in contact with. And I want them to go out there and seek it for self, or say, you know what, no, I disapprove of that for whatever reason. And I want to be challenged on these things, because the only way that I know that what I'm saying is true if I get challenged on it. So I came across something with Mos Def, and I heard Mos Def say it. Mos Def said that you want to go to the edge of the earth, right? Mentally, just saying that you want to go far left as you can while everybody's going to the right, or vice versa, whatever direction that everybody else is going in. You go to the end of the earth, and then you make that the center. Man, when I heard that, man, that sat me back in my seat. It sat me back in my seat. He said, you want to go to the end of the earth and make that the center. What I taken from that, right? It made me think about not just being a conformist, not being somebody that's just Mr. Agreeable. Because in my life, I was Mr. Agreeable. Everything that people said and done, I just felt inclination just to be attached to it by being agreeable, by saying that, no, I agree with you, just to get the yes, so I get the approval from the other person, because I didn't like the disapproval. I didn't like not to be liked. I didn't like for people to say, you know, Johnny don't know what he's talking about. So in order for me to fit in, I found a way to conform. And when I did that, I didn't understand at the time that I was damaging who I was and who I am as a person and my character. I know I grew up morally with some good people in my lives that cared about me unconditionally, and they done things, they sacrificed things, and I do a disservice to them not to be honorable in those fashions. Whether they were right or wrong, they did their best. And my thing is, if I don't continuously go out there and learn what I learned and do my best, I do a disservice to everybody else that come after me. Because sometimes we think about a lot of people paying attention to what we say. A lot of times people pay attention to what we do and how we act. A lot of times people don't pay attention to what we say. A lot of times people pay attention to what you do and how you act. And when I learned this, it made me say, okay, don't just be a talker. Be somebody that takes action. Be somebody that stands 10 toes on their morals and their belief system. Be somebody of a good moral conduct and character. Be somebody that has great distinction and understands what having morale is. Having the sensibility to go out there with level-headedness, right? To be level-headed. And understand that there's some things that may draw me far left or far right. And my thing is, whether I go far left or far right, make wherever I'm going the center. And then I can evaluate everything else around me. Virtue, ethics, powerful, Jet. We have a comment from my brother. My brother said, virtue, ethics. Have ethics. Have ethics. Super profound, super powerful. And a lot of times we miss out on these things. Because we set it and forget it. We said, hey, I've done this thing my whole life. This is the way I operate. This is the house I grew up in. This is what we always did. And since I know it to be true of how I done this thing my whole life, I'm leaning on this as my truth. Although that may be your experience, and we can't never deny your experience, because your experience is true to you. But is it truth? That's your opinion, even though you experienced that. Because we also know that that's a subjective viewpoint. Where's the objectiveness? Is that true? Has it been tested? That's how Myron Golden says. Myron Golden says, if there's a principle or law to be true, you got to be true in all domains, no matter where you test it at. If it's a law or principle that is true, it gotta remain true in all domains. The law of gravity. We have gravitational pull all around the earth. You can jump up in Spain and still get pulled down to the center of the equator. You can jump up in the air in Africa and still get pulled down to the equator. You could jump up in the air and right here in America in real time, and you still get pulled right back down to the center of the equator. The law of gravity. Tested in every different domain, and if it holds to be true, that is truth. Objectiveness. But we can't have our own experiences and say, you know what, since I experienced this one thing right here, this is true. No, this is truth. This is truth. No, it's what you experience. It may be true, but it may not hold up in every domain to be true. I know there are people that experience some horrible and terrible things in their lives. Although there were things that were done to them, verbal abuse, physical abuse, assault, etc. Ba 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 ba. Although those things existed, but that's not the ethics that we talked about, what my brother Jet was talking about. That's not having good moral conduct. People that do that, those people are hurt people. Those are hurt people that hurt other people. So we can't have this. Everyone's truth is different. Absolutely, loved one. Everybody's truth is different. People hold near and dear their experiences and say, "This is my truth. You can't tell me no different." True indeed. You absolutely have the right and being opinionated. You have the right to feel like that. But truth of the matter is that we still gotta go in different domains to see if abuse holds up in every other domain. Or we know there's punishable acts, even death acts for people that abuse or cause harm. Even though we live in a world to where they got war, they wage war and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you go outside today, you knock somebody over the head and the police watch you, they locking you up for that. They locking you up for that. Although you may experience abuse in the household, experience abuse out there in school, experience abuse in your relationship, experience abuse and just your family dynamic. But if you go out there and you knock somebody over the head right now in front of a police officer, you may end up going to prison. My brother says life experiences and perspectives defines their truth. Absolutely. 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 Undeniable. What we experience in our own lives becomes our truth. Does that hold up in every domain around the world or in your world, the world that you create? Because ultimately, we all live in a simulation, right? How you see the world, how you live, how you have your moral ethics and your conduct, your morale, your belief system, the things that you hold to be near and dear, those things always going to get challenged. I heard somebody say the other day, they said there are over 4,000 languages. But the ultimate language that we all need to speak is truth. There are over 4,000 different languages around the planet. But the language that we all need to find is the language of truth. Powerful, loved one. Hathaway Russell, sub loved one. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And we don't want to run away from our experiences. Our experiences are keys and tools that we are able to use. That's where our leverage come from. Some of the pain, the hurt, the things that we have experienced, that's where your gift is at. Not in the act, but the experience of what you can share to save another life from it. The things that you can share along your journey that can help another person, that help you. The things that you experienced that you got over the hump with. The things that allowed you to become the better person, the better version of yourself today, to maximize your potential from those things. What did you learn from it? What did you learn from it? Sometimes we got to grow through things. Grow through things. Yeah, that's where growth happens at. Sometimes we got to grow in, then grow out of. We got to grow into something new and then grow out of that to get to reach another level of something, whether it's your health, whether it's like my brother D Nice. Watch his growth. He is growing literally, physically through his transformation in his own life. Watching him physically, powerful. He is growing through his things by being in the gym, dedicated, disciplined, with or without. He's putting that pain in every day, and he go share some experiences that nobody else may be able to pick up on because the level of dedication that it requires. Some people fall off that train early. My brother says to be able to accept a bad experience is a good experience. I like that. I like that. To be able to accept a bad experience is a good experience. I like that. I see where you're going. I see where you're going. But always expecting a good experience is in a way a bad experience. I want to challenge you on that. Let me read that again. But always expecting a good experience is in a way a bad experience. Now let me challenge you on that, right? Because I'm in a community, right? And primarily Uh, I'm in there with my coach Lucky, bunch of other individuals, Veto, bunch of people in there, bunch of beautiful thinkers inside of this community. And it's like think tanks. So we go in there, we spar, we talk about things, and then we get challenged on some things. And one thing that you said right there, I deal with frequently, right? Of actually trying to change my mindset to a thing that's where um, all my experiences are good experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. I look at all of the experiences as experiences that work to my benefit, my best and to my best, my best and good. So I want to challenge because this is something that we can learn from, because I love your sentiment and I love that perspective because that's what I feel almost majority of the time every day. But I heard something different that challenges that, and I'm in the same space where you are with that. Or since you shared that sentiment, I know that that's what I feel like right now too. But always expecting a good experience is in a way a bad experience. That's what I feel majority of the time. But I did hear something different that says, no, I only think of and I only create pleasurable experiences in my life. You know, I heard something else, right, by Myron Golden. He says, I only, I only, I'm gonna get it right. I only, I only prepare and think of favorable outcomes. The first two words I might have twisted it a bit, but favorable outcomes is his sentiment behind his thought process. He said, and everything that he does, he only look at it from a perspective of having a favorable outcome, right? And these are some of the things that that I get challenged on too, because I'm saying, hey, me having the technical difficulties getting on this live today, um, what, how does that benefit me? We've seen chaos, we've seen some things that were disarray, but how does that lead me to the next step of getting the perfection? But I also understand that from three different sources to come to this other truth I heard from Dr. Ali Muhammad, right? Dr. Ali Muhammad said, um, uh, the way you get perfection is having the disorder initially. Initially, the disorder will bring perfection because that's what we can learn from through that channel. So that's one person that said it in that context. Then I heard Myron Golden said that only thing he look at is favorable outcomes. So I heard something similar, still the end result being the favorable outcome, but just the initial thought process. That's what he said. Then I heard Coach Lucky says that only the best and the good come to me. I don't even think about the negative. I just think about none but the positive outcomes. So I heard three different perspectives, similar and different, depending on how you slice the cake. And these are the things where I'm saying, you know what, we got great minds. And then now you're common as well. But always expecting a good experience is in a way a bad experience, which is now I'm like, now I got four different viewpoints. Which one do I go with? How about I challenge myself through it all and see what thinking will yield me the highest return to where I'm trying to get to? Which thought process should I utilize in order to, make the next steps, make my next decisions? Which one's gonna yield me the best next decision, depending on circumstance, etc. Which one is going to aid me to the next, or can we use them interchangeably? Do it have to be one set way all the time, or is one circumstance gonna benefit me depending on the circumstance, time, etc.? So now I have a collection of four different viewpoints, all leading to the greater good at the end by having some type of emotional stability to some level. But now I could pick out of four great minds. I have Jet, I have Dr. Ali Muhammad, I got Myron Golden, I got Coach Lucky. Four respectable men that I look up to in a sense of sharing sentiment that I feel like could serve me better in my own life. So now I got four great minds that I look at, that I respect, that I can take their viewpoints and start applying it in my life. That's how I start to get closer to truth. That's how I start getting closer to truth. This is what avoiding bad experiences limit growth. Absolutely, loved one. Absolutely. Absolutely. We avoid the bad experiences. Where's the growth gonna happen? Because now we should stalemate it. We stalemate it. Anything left to itself is turn to disorder and chaos. Apathy. Anything left to itself turn to disorder and chaos. Apathy. I appreciate that. Now I appreciate you, loved one, because this is literally how for us together as a collective. But there's so much that I learned from having a conversation, the tough conversations, because a lot of times I know I used to feel like I knew it all, and 9 times out of 10 I didn't know enough. Majority of the time I didn't know enough. They say happiness is bliss. They say they say ignorance is bliss. They say ignorance is bliss. It says, oh, you got to take risks, face fears, and pass comfort zones. Absolutely. Yo, man, seeing you going there and sparring in the ring, right? And challenging yourself physically, training, going in there and having, even though I know you in the ring in the octagon and you doing UFC and you are sparring with another personnel, but as much I know for a fact that as much as we think it's the opponent, it's really you battling you as well as the opponent. So you got to be able to battle yourself for one. So you fighting two battles. You fighting the battle of you and you fighting the battle of the opponent. Slim, what's up, loved one? Row, what's up, loved ones? You're fighting two different battles you get in the octagon. Yo, it's a mental battle every time, bro. The biggest battle is fighting myself. Absolutely. I know it is. I know this because you already know you already got the innate ability to have confidence and think, because we display that in all forms of fashion. We've seen that on the basketball court. We've seen that in the octagon. We've seen that in sports and everything. We've been know the warrior spirit been there, but I know that when you get in those spaces, 9 times out of 10 it's always facing it's you facing you. That's why my brother Raul got a Love His brand, me versus me. And I can't wait to have him up there, because that concept is one of those things that we deal with every day. Because a lot of times we give our power away. We give our power away to the television. We give our power away to other people. We give our power away to the thing that we was tied to 10 years ago, or the identity that we had 10 years ago. We give all our power to those things. No, when I was out there slinging and banging, I was that guy. How many stories have you heard like that? Forever. And I didn't want to become one of those personnels that limit my growth, that stop there. I wanted to say, hey, yeah, although I experienced that thing, that's not who I am today. That's a part of me. That's a part of the story. That's not the whole story. And every day we got a chance and opportunity to keep rewriting it. What we doing right now, we rewriting it. We are talking amongst our community, amongst people that are synchronized by the hip. Have free. We talking to free thinkers, people that think for themselves, people that are leaders and respectable people in our own rights, because we're able to stand on what we believe morally. We stand on what we believe morally. It's you versus you, and one has to die. Absolutely. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. One of the yous got to go. The old you, the new you, somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. And I feel that the new and improved version of you every day is going to serve you better for tomorrow. Because only thing constant in this world is change. We are forever changing, unless you are choosing not to. Unless you are choosing not to. And we know that whoever's staying the same 9 times out of 10 get written out. Get written out. Get written out. I know that. I've experienced that. I remember times where when I didn't want to change, and I was trying to hold on to my own name that I felt that I was reputable of, right? So yeah, I went to X, Y, and Z. I did X, Y, and Z when I was on the streets. I trying to hold on to the old shit, and then I started finding myself time slipping by, and I'm looking at my life being stagnated. I'm being in the same position I was yesterday, until I got the light bulb went off and said, "Bing, you will always be here if you don't start making different decisions. If you don't start going out there challenging yourself, doing something, being active. Stop letting yourself rot and decay, and let disorder turn to chaos, which is atrophy. Don't atrophy right here. If I stop right here, then everything that you say that you want to do and build or impact other people's lives with stops right here. Loved one, the God says, one of you, sorry for the typo, working on tuning in. Nah, light work. Nah, that's a beautiful thing. This is real time. This is real time, loved one. Jet, this is real time, and this is There's nothing better than us recorrecting error. Of course, like I was listening to he wrote the book The Purple Cow. I can't think of his name. And he wrote The Lynchpin. I can't think of his name right now off the top. But long story short, there was a comment he said that about failing, right? And this is different viewpoints. I hear with some of my people that I look up to, they talk about no, don't seek failure. And then other areas I hear fail, but don't fail too hard to where you can't come back from. So I'm hearing different variations of levels of failure. Some people say seek failure in order to gain awareness, so you can actually get the victory at the end. Then I hear some other opinions that say, hey, fail, but only fail to at a rate to where you be able to bounce back from. Don't fail too hard because it'll take you too long to scramble out of that. So I'm like, I get it. To wherever it serves me at my life. Okay, maybe I don't want to take the $10,000 risk because that's all I have to my name. Maybe I want to take $1,000 risk as of right now. When people say go all in, yeah, depending on circumstance, depending on leverage, depending on how can I maximize my potential. Yeah, people how about saying I take a calculated risk, right? Instead of just gambling, rolling the dice, saying I'm betting it all on a house, right? And just losing everything. But can I fail at a rate to where I still be able to be in the game? Because the key to the game is being able to stay in the game. If I take this one hit, is it going to put me out indefinitely? Or if I take this hit right now, how long is it going to take me to get right back to that next level? So maybe I'm not ready for the all-in risk, right? Because I may be able to take an all-in risk right now, but I know I can, get some funding from Bones and Eliana to get my credit back up. I could go in there and afford to get that 50K or 100K bounce back if I take the $10,000 loss. Maybe I can go there and talk to my brother and my sister, and they come back and they got to play for me until I get a $50,000 or $100,000, credit or a line of credit. You feel me? So what I'm saying is, ultimately, when we come to how we fail, calculated risk, what is too big, what is too small, we know that along the line we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice somewhere. We cannot not do anything and expect that we get a return on our investment, because your return on your investment on nothing is nothing. The return on your investment of nothing is nothing. Truth be told. So even when you're out there wanting to take some of these risks, it's necessary. So the truth of the matter is that we got to take risks. We cannot not take risks. Write that off as the truth. Along the lines, how big, how small, who's the distinguish that, right? Who's right or wrong, depending on circumstance, etc. All these things are factors, depending on the context of things. But we all understand that taking a risk, because we all finding out that if we don't take no risk, there's no reward. So we have to take risk. How big of a risk are you willing to take? Questionable. That's up to you. Subjective, opinionated. That's your thoughts. Absolutely, loved ones. Absolutely. I know we have all have risked some things in our lives. I was talking to Roy the other day, and I was talking about risking some sleep. Sleep is very, very important. But in order to get the work done, you got to risk some sleep. The other day, I said, you know what? I right now I'm too exhausted. I'm telling baby girl, I said, Liz, yo, let me lay on the couch right now. Keep it 1,000. I said, let me lay on the couch right now. I intend to do some work. So I come in the living room, I'm laying on the couch. I said, I just need some quick Z's in because I am exhausted at a long day. But I need to get on the computer and need to do some work. She said, all right, I'm going to the room, do her thing. She in the room. I come back, I'm in the living room, do my thing. I lay down. She woke me up about like 3 in the morning. No, was it? No. Was it earlier than that first? I think it was earlier than that first. And then 3 in the morning. I couldn't even remember because I was Z'd out. The boy was sleeping. Long story short, I slept all day. I ain't even get up during the night. And I said, you know what? I had to sacrifice my body somewhere. My cousin Black say it all the time. I had to sacrifice my body. So I say, listen, man, I know I wouldn't be able to function the way I needed to function in the moment. So I said, you know what? Let me just get some Z's in. So I took the approach of laying down, and my laying down turned into tomorrow. Just keeping it 1,000 while. Keeping it 1,000. I slept into the mall. But, you know, I got up early, still was able to get back to it. I said the following, when I got up in the morning, felt rejuvenated. I said, you know, I feet on concrete, man. Get on the computer, start doing your work. Some days I like that. So I don't hold myself to so strict and stringent. um I don't have a like I don't be so hard on myself, right? I always try to implement discipline, right? I always try to implement some level of motivation, self motivation, right? Pooch, what's up, loved one? I always try to instill some of these mindsets within oneself in order to get me going. I also know that it's going to be a give and take. Sometimes the functionality of my body may not be able to push there. Sometimes I may need disease. Sometimes I'm like, nah, you just being lazy. Now you got time. You wide awake. You alert. Go in there, put some work in. He just said, yeah, it was 9 at first and then 12. I got it. It was at 9, then 12, then your boy slept all the way to the morning. That's a 50. That is a 50. You were tired. Absolutely. My body was shutting down. I needed those Z's. But, you know, that's just a reminder, too, on so many other levels. Okay, what am I eating? Is some of the foods wearing me down? What am I doing throughout my day? Am I hydrating enough? Am I eating the proper foods that sustain alertness? Being able to, you know, am I getting a proper rest on the other days, etc. So it's always continuation of fine tuning, knowing your strengths, knowing where you know excel at. Are you better working in the morning, better working at night? All these, getting more familiar with who you are is very, very key. And I feel like when we understand this and we just keep pouring more into who we are, things become so much more clearer. I was building with Mama Love the other day. Me and Mom's was building, and I was like, I was over there at the crib chilling, and with the family, niece, brothers, nieces, cousins, sister-in-law, everybody was just vibing. And it early during the night, I said, I gotta go home. Normally I'll be there till the. She said, so early. I said, yeah, man, I gotta go home. I got some things to do. She said, all right, well, see you later. So I slid on out of there, and I remember the old me. I used to be like, nah, I'm here with my family. I'm not going nowhere. But I also understand that if in order for me to get where I need to get to, there are gonna be some times where I enjoy myself that I don't want to leave, that I have to in order to put the work in to get to those next levels in my life. And there's no slight to anybody else. And that's one of the things that I had to learn, that there are gonna be some times where certain things may be an inconvenience to me at the moment. Although it may seem like, oh, Johnny ain't got nothing going on at the moment, or he could spend another half an hour, he could do this, he could do. And I started to say, you know what? How am I utilizing my time? Who am I utilizing my time with? How much time do I need to devote to the things that I say I want in my life? My podcast is a priority. My mom, she let me listen on Thursdays. She said, I don't even bother you, Johnny. You know that? My mom don't. She said, Thursdays is your day. Do what you got to go and do to get your podcast right. And she respect me, and she loved me enough to say, nah, I understand that, you know, you got things you need to do. I respect that. Some of Gary Vee said, get around people that love you enough to tell you the truth. That's a truth moment. Tell me the truth. Nah, go out there, take care of your business. Although there's some things that I would love to indulge in. I love to go to parties. I love to go hang out. I love to go to eat here. All of these things count towards who I want to be for the mall. Who I want to be for the mall. I understand that, hey, some of these things that I'm going through come at a price. What price am I willing to pay to make these things work? Because we all know that your future relies on what you do today. Your future relies on what you do today, what you're doing in the moment. Every day we are writing our future in the moment. We are writing our future in the moment. What you do right now is going to affect you tomorrow. So even though you may not see the results, even though you may feel like this is a long journey, certain things happen like that. My brother Jeff Moore told me, so listen, okay, I see you, loved one. You on your journey? All right, yo, it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a long journey. You got to grind it out. You got to put that legwork in. You got to grind it out. That's what he told me. Prepare yourself. Yeah, it's a journey. Now you're on the marathon now. Okay, you got to prepare yourself. Keep preparing. Keep being better. Keep showing up. Keep doing the job. Because things are going to work out in due time. It may not be right now. It may not be 3 years from now. It may not be 5 years from now. There's going to be a time where it's going to be your time. But it all depends on what you do today. It's not gonna happen by me doing nothing. It ain't gonna happen by me doing nothing. Ty, what's up, Ty? Absolutely, man. Um, I want to give the biggest shout out to everybody that tapped in today. It was a powerful build. Although we had some technical difficulties, things happen. Normal. It happens. It's just a testament to how we're going to build for the near future. So now we got to work out some more kinks. We got to be better, more resilient. We got to have more confidence. We can't shy away from the battle because nothing bigger than us. We still completed the task. We still got the job done, and we had a wonderful chat today. My brother Jet, super build today. My brother gave me so many things that I can look at and take away from, as far as challenging my own belief system in certain areas. And this is what we all need. I know this is what I need for sure. Hands down, I need to have these perspectives challenged because I speak, but I also know that me listening is really the key. It's a constant give and take through conversation. Conversation is, one speak, the other speak, and then we just take sentiment from both and find that truth. He says, gotta tune in more, bro. I love what you're doing. I love what you're building. He said, I love for you to do a few posts on my upcoming blog. Absolutely, loved one. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. That's mandatory. I'm definitely gonna post that up. Mandatory. Send me the links, everything. I got all that. I'm definitely. Oh yeah, it's going down. Mandatory. And whenever you feel like it, the invitation is always open for you to come up here, so we can build in real time too, face to face, so we all can get tapped in. So anybody that's in our community, that's here, that see this from wherever it pops up on your feed, understand that you want to have a conversation. Just let me know. Tap in with the God, and we can bring it to the forefront. Whatever's on your mind, because we here to learn, heal, grow. We here to share the sentiment of one another, support one another, have an open conversation. Be yourself. We want you to not be judged. We want to be challenged, right? But we're not coming with the critique to hurt. We coming for the critique for the better. In all forms of fashion, we're gonna be honest. Because if we love each other enough, we're willing to tell each other the truth. Gary V quote. Let's put something together on the calendar, bro. I send you absolutely. We definitely do it. Send me the DM. Send you my mail. We converse whenever it works for you. We up here and we go do our thing. Mandatory. And this what I want. I'm super pumped. And people don't even know our history. People they don't know our history. And that's the beauty, because we have so many things that we shared together from we was young. Like you, Lord, all y'all been my big brothers. And y'all allowed us to be around y'all. And y'all used to walk us through so many steps. Dunkin' Donuts runs, through the cut. Man, they don't know. They don't know that block, man. A block, man. They don't know. But I'm telling you, man, I love you unconditionally, family. I love everybody that came and who watch what we doing, who sharing your sentiment, showing up in real time. It shows who you are as a person. I care about everybody. Y'all know I got a big heart, and I want us to grow as a people. Definitely my peoples. I love y'all unconditionally, and I know it's reciprocated. I know that you guys don't only just show up for yourselves. Y'all show up for myself included. We show up for one another, and that's the real. That when we learn how to collectively come together as one, we show that there's no one individual bigger than the program. So we understand that in order to move the masses, if we start sticking together more, we start trusting one another more. I know it's tough in our communities because we always taught the dog eat dog, only the strong survive. We don't want to give up the source. We don't want to give up the connects. We don't want to tell where you learn something else from. But now we start learning, man, why other people, other friends, other family members, other races, other whoever, color, creed, etc. are moving forward. And you start realizing that no, there's a community. There's a tribe of people that move together as one people. They support one another. Sandbox, absolutely, loved one. Absolutely. Love you too, bro. Keep it up. Absolutely, God. That's a fact. That's a big Fendi. But yeah, that's how people move forward. That's how we move together as supporting one another. So you got something going on, you got some business going on, we share. No, listen, we do cross promotion, cross branding. We start putting our things on each other forums. Whatever my family got going on, I'm gonna big them up on my same platform. Big each other up. We got Quay and Slim. They got the shoe drive coming up. Big, powerful. We got the barbecue coming up in August. So many powerful things in our community that's going on. Consecutive years straight doing these things. Building up. Yeah, let's get tapped in. My sister Quay, Slim, my brother, they got something going on where it's coming up very shortly to where, oh yeah, it's sneaker drive. Cool kicks, clean kicks. Come on, loved ones. It's going down. Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. It's going down. Support one another. Support one another. Support one another. We're going to get there. Car rental service. BMO. 100 Wave King. Affordable car rentals. Black. Come on, loved one. Turn this thing up to the mid-ax. Me versus me. Raul. Neff. Come on, man. Guapavelli. Big Guap. Come on, legendary. It's going down, man. It is going down. Oh, yeah. The movers and the shakers. Let's make it happen. I love y'all unconditionally, man. Let's tap in. Support. Like, share, support. If you found this to be interesting, like it. Whatnot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Post it up, share it, like it. Get more subscribers up on the platforms. Do what we got to do. And sorry for the mishap earlier, just on tech side, but we're gonna work those things out. Armel Young was our special guest today, but he will be back up. Guarantee that he will be back up. We're gonna figure this thing out. Yeah, another round at the bat, man. Another round, man. We're gonna get this thing working. Love y'all unconditionally. Signing out, and it's over. Respectfully.